Okay, so today we are doing exercise 1.2 of the book, and this is on rounding numbers, right? Rounding numbers. Okay, and before we take any question, I want us to have a quick overview of what rounding numbers are. So, it says in this particular question, it says the first one has been done for us, which is we rounded 8.52 to the nearest 10. Okay, and so let's use this to explain what rounded numbers are. We have 8.52. Okay, the first thing you want to consider when rounding numbers is to consider the place value that you are to round to. Okay, here it was you were asked to round to the nearest tenth. So the place value you consider what the place value to round to. The place value to round to. And in this case, 8.52, the place value that was stated is the 10th place. And in the 10th place, we have 5. And then the next thing will be to consider the number on the right of that digit. The number on the immediate right, the number to the immediate right of that digit. And the number to the immediate right of 5 is what? 2. Is 2. So we consider the number to the immediate right. So the number to the immediate right, right, right. Okay. And then the next thing to do is to check if this number which you have found on the right of the digits, right? If the number 2, okay, we are considering the number 2. So if the number 2 is a strong or a weak number. So is a number a strong or a weak number? A weak number. Okay. So a strong number is, so let's write the digits 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's start with 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And so the strong numbers are the numbers that are where from 5 and above. So 5 upwards. So 5 to 9, we have the strong numbers. And then the weak numbers are from 4 down. Okay, the weak numbers are from 4 down. So we have 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Okay, these are strong and our weak numbers. And so 2 is part of what? Weak numbers. 2 is part of weak numbers. And as a result, whenever you have a weak number, you don't it has not become a power of it has not it just becomes negligible. You just neglect it, right? So when I say negligible, what I mean is that you don't do anything to it, rather it reduces immediately to 0. So rounding this number up to the nearest 10, we have 8.50. Because 2 is a weak number, we neglect 2. We neglect 2. Okay. So we are done with the explanation of rounded numbers. Let's go into the question. So question 1 says draw lines to show each number rounded to the nearest 10. The first one has been done for you. So 8.52 to the nearest 10 is what? 8.5, or in this case 8.50, which is the same thing. 8.5 is the same as 8.50. So 8.77 to the nearest 10. First of all, we find the number in the place value. So to the nearest 10th, we have 7 in the 10th position. The next thing is to find the number to the immediate right of 7. Number to the immediate right of 7 is the 7 over here. And so is 7, the next thing we ask ourselves is 7 a strong or a weak number? Realize that 7 is a strong number. And so with strong numbers, what we do is that it becomes a power of 1. It gives the number in place, in this place, 1, right? So it gives the number in the place value mentioned a 1. So it becomes 8.8 because this 7 becomes a 1 and it adds on to the 7 here. Okay, so we have a 8.8. So where is 8.8? Meaning that this is our answer, 8.8. Okay, the next question is 8.35. With 8.35 to the nearest tenth, we consider the number in the 10th position. Number in the 10th position is 3, and the number to the immediate right is the 5 over here. And 5 over here we've learned is a strong number. So if it's a strong number, it becomes a power of 1 and adds on to the number in the place value mentioned, which is the 10th position. So we are going to get an 8.4 and 8.4. And so this is our 8.4, and so we trace up to this. Okay. Question 2. Question 2. So we have a tip here. Let's just read this tip. Remember, the numbers could be less than 10 or more than 10. So question 2 says draw a ring around all the numbers which equal 10 when rounded to the nearest whole number. So let's check the first one and we go on. So 10.53 to the nearest whole number. The nearest whole number will be where 0 is, the ones position, where 0 is. The number to the immediate right is what? The 5 over here. Now 5 is a strong number, so it rounds up and it adds to this 0 and we get an 11 for this one. So to the nearest whole number, 10.53 is 11. But our question says we should draw a ring around the numbers which equal 10 when rounded to the nearest. So this is not part of our answers. Let's look at the next number, 10.5. To the nearest whole number, we consider this where the 0 is. And the number to the right of this 0 is 5. 5 rounded up becomes 5 is a strong number, sorry. 5 is a strong number. So it becomes a power of 1 and it adds up to the 0 and we get another 11. We continue. 10.35. 10.35 to the nearest whole number. 10th place, the 0. To the right, we have a 3. This 3 is a weak number, so it becomes negligible, a 0. So we have a 10.0 or a 10, simply a 10. So this is part of our answers. 9.55 to the nearest whole number. 9 is the nearest whole number. And so we look to the right of 9, there is a 5. The 5 is a strong number. It becomes a power of 1 and it adds on to the 9. And so we have 10. This is also part of our answers. We have 10.05. 10.05, 0 over here is a what? Is our number in the 10th position. The number to the right is also 0. And 0 we have learned is a what? A weak number. And so it becomes negligible. So we have a 10 as well. And so this is also part of our answers. 9.5, as we are just going to go with the flow. So 9, and then we consider 5. 5 is a strong number, and so this becomes a 10. And so this is also part of our answers. We have a 9.05. 9 is the nearest whole number. Next to it, to the right of it is 0. 0 is a weak number. And so this remains 9. So this is not part of our answers. We have a 9.35 over here. 9 is the nearest whole number. 3 is a weak number. and so it becomes a negligible, and so this becomes a 9, and so this is also not part of answers. So our answers here are what? 10.35, 9.55, 10.05, and 9.5. Okay. Question 3a, round 7.81 to the nearest 10. So we look at the number in the 10th position, that's the 8, and then the number to the right of 8 is 1. 1 is a weak number, so it becomes a 0. So we have 7.8 or 7.80. B. Round 7.81 to the nearest whole number. The nearest whole number should be 7, and the number to the right of 7 is 8. 8 is a strong number, so that becomes a power of 1 added onto the 7. So we get an 8 as our final answer. Question 4. It says complete the table. So round this to the nearest 10 and round this to the nearest whole number. That's what we just did. So I'm going to leave this question for you, and you are going to, tell me what your answers are. Okay, let's go to the practice questions. So practice, it says question 5, choose the largest number from the list that gives 100 when rounded to the nearest whole number. Okay, so the largest number from the list that gives 100 when rounded to the nearest whole number. So let's see the numbers that will give us rounded when then we choose the largest one. So when we round this to the nearest whole number, we'll get a 101, right? When we round this to the nearest whole number, considering 5, looking at this, we get 100. Okay. When we round this to the nearest whole number, we get a 101, right? When we round this to the nearest whole number, we get a 100. When we round 100.5 to the nearest whole number, we look at the nearest whole number is 0, number next 5, we get a 101. 99.5 to the nearest whole number would give us a 100. 99.9 to the nearest whole number also give us a 100. So the largest, the ones that gave us 100 is what we are considering. So this is out. We are not considering this number. We are not considering this because it gave us 101 when rounded. We are not considering this because it also gave us 101. So now we have 100 here. We have 100 here. We have 100 here. We have 100 here. So the largest number amongst 99.9, 99, 99.99, 99.5, 100.45, and 99.9 is 100. Okay, so our answer is what? 100.45. Okay. Question 6, it says use each of the digits, that's 9, 4, 1, and 2 ones to make a decimal number, the decimal number closest to 20. Okay, we have to use these digits to make a decimal number which is very close to 20. So meaning it can be, a number, it should be a number close to 20. So I see a 1 here, I see a 9, right? So we can get a 19. We can get a 1, we can get a 9, that's a 19. And then we bring out the small. And so if it has to be close, the rest of the numbers are 4 and 2. If it has to be closest to 20, it has to be, it has to be 4 and 2. Okay, and when we arrange it this way, we get the largest number, that is still the closest number, right, to 20. Okay, hope that makes sense.